You're now watching the Danny Mac Podcast on the Bet Rivers Network.
The Bears came up short against Green Bay 20-19. I'm Dan Mcneil, and I'm going to try to keep this show to about 15 minutes today. I have a ton to say and very little time to get it all done because there are teams that I want to watch playing this afternoon and tonight that will be going to the playoffs. After watching the Bears, I saw a team and rooting for them, quite honestly, today, as much as a lot of you were, because I was hoping they would get off the proverbial schneid, whatever the schneid actually means. I once knew that. But anyway, the Bears came up short because they just ran out of gas in the fourth quarter. They had a chance to put the game away twice, leading 19-14. And with the ball, with about 9 minutes to go, they chew up 5 minutes of clock time, get the ball to midfield, but can't do anything with it. And Green Bay gets another opportunity. The Bears gave up that big play, the Love to Watson play. And in the end, it's a Chris Brooks hand on the kick of Cairo Santos. And on that drive, the Bears kind of stalled as well. They were going fine. And then they say, maybe we'll just kick it from here. This is fine. Let's just do this. Cairo Santos is a real good kicker too. But it was low, and the A-gap was compromised terribly. Brooks gets his hand on the hoochie, and Green Bay wins its 11th straight against the Bears. 11 straight wins for the Packers over the Bears, and this series just continues to be anything but a rivalry. Did you know rivalry connotes some form of competitive balance? And a rivalry also means two entities vying for the same goal who often are considered equal. Are the Bears and Packers equal? Bears and Packers equal? Have they been equal for a long time since Favre got there in 92? The Bears went 1-1 against them in Ditka's final year. And then same thing again next year in 93. Dave Wanstead's first year, and that was the only game he'd win against Green Bay. I'll go over some of the records Bears coaches have against these Packers in a second. It is astounding. Matt Eberflus likely only will coach this team one more time against Green Bay before his head meets the guillotine in the offseason. The blade should be getting good and sharp by now. There is something positive to be gleaned from this loss today. Caleb Williams looked like he belonged in the NFL. That's a pretty damn low bar, but that's where we're at right now, Bears Nation. He was really good today, and he made some really good throws. And if his receivers had made, in the case of Keenan Allen, on the second to the last drive of the game, a relatively routine catch, maybe things change. Maybe they score again and add to that 19-14 lead. In case of Rome Odunze, it would have been a really difficult catch. The Bears sideline thought he was interfered with on that streak route. Again, same drive. Early in that drive, there were about 8 minutes left in the ball game when that happened. But Williams threw the ball really well most of the day. He had some drops from some of his receivers, 23 out of 31. For 212 yards. He was not intercepted. He was sacked 3 times. The Bears were a little better in protection. Thomas Brown's baby head, he did a nice job calling plays. They moved Caleb around well early in the game. I thought they played to his strengths, and he looked comfortable. He looked really good when he was flushed from the pocket. Ran very well. The Bears on third down today were 9 out of 16. On fourth down, they were 3 for 3. They held the ball for 36 minutes and I think 21 seconds. Rushed for 5.4, I think, yards per carry. Really nice rushing game for the Bears. A collaborative effort between Swift, Williams, Roschon Johnson. DJ Moore had a carry as well. But the Bears rushing for 179 yards on the day and a couple of touchdowns. How about that? DeAndre Swift tasting the sweet nectar of the end zone. It had been some time since the Bears did that, going all the way back to the Commanders game. 4 straight losses for Chicago, 4-6. I'm laughing because it wasn't supposed to be this way. And I know a lot of Bears fans feel like, man, this is just never going to end. This franchise is cursed. How can you not feel that way? How could you not? It was not supposed to go this way. There was no way in the world the Bears were going to have these type of problems with the can't-miss prospect and all those gadgets they gave him. What we learned was Keenan Allen, while a good leader and a good teacher and one of the fine slot receivers in the game's history, doesn't have much gas left in the tank. And DJ Moore, boy, he's had an interesting second year in a Bears uniform, has he? He's been rumored to be one of the guys causing all kinds of disruption and me, and not working hard enough in those practices, even though he's one of the guys who's pointing the finger instead of the thumb. See, Eberflus has lost this thing, and it's disappointing. The players, talked so much about their unity in the offseason and how much they all are in this thing together, and it's been anything but that. It's been a lot of guys pulling in different directions this season. That wasn't the case today. I guess I'm speaking overall now that you can officially cancel the postseason show for Chicago at 4-6. All the divisional games remaining, a trip to San Francisco coming. It's not going to happen this year, and I predicted that they would win double-digit games. Silly me. I should have known better with a girl like you. Was that Lennon or McCartney? I'm going to go with McCartney. Although Lennon was more negative about women. It's true. Jordan Love threw an interception today. How about that? The Bears didn't get him last year. He was 2-0 last year against the Bears with 5 touchdowns and no interceptions. They didn't sack him but once last year, and they only got him once today. DeMarcus Walker, your table is ready. He's the guy who gets it done. You know who didn't get it done as a pass rusher today? The guy who gets paid more money than any Bear pass rusher, Montez Sweat. Montez Sweat was traded for a second-round pick, and the Bears were obligated to sign him on an expiring contract, and he was paid $98 million, and he has been a no-show this season. And he has talked about not being respected by the opposition, which on occasion single blocks him with a tight end. The Packers did it in the fourth quarter today. Tucker Kraft with a hesitation block, and they figure he's going to release too. He neutralizes Sweat for 2 seconds and then releases into his route. Nobody picks up 98. That was on the 4th and goal at the 6 when Love just got stopped shy of the goal line late in the ball game. Montez Sweat, feel free to make a contribution. And it's obvious to me one of two things, maybe both are prevalent. Either he is way too hurt to be playing. If that's the case, I don't know why they're suiting him up. They need to make the determination if he can't push off on his foot, if he can't trust that leg and the ankle is aggravated too, in addition to the shin contusion. If he can't do it, then don't suit him up. He's not he's standing there. Maybe he's fallen out of shape. That's the second part of this. Either that injury is so bad or he's been immobile now for a month or so and he's fallen out of shape. Montez Sweat took himself off the field after 5 or 6 snaps on the first series of the game. Did not return on that first Green Bay series. Then they went hurry up a little bit late, and he never got back on the field. The Packers scored, made it look real easy on their first drive of the ball game. Hands on his hips, sucking for air. Last guy to get his fingers on the ground if he does go into his 3-point, and then the ball is snapped, and he's the last guy out of his stance. He's either hurt too much to play, or he's fallen out of shape from being hurt. And there's a lot of me that, wonders why the Bears would have paid $98 million to this guy anyway. I thought he was a good complimentary player in Washington. I didn't think the Commanders, I if the Commanders felt he were so valuable, and I know they had a rebuild coming up, and they're doing a nice job with it in Jaden Daniels. But if the Washington Commanders felt he was that valuable, they wouldn't have parted with both pass rushers a year ago. They wouldn't have allowed both Sweat and the number one pick from Ohio State to get away. And Sweat was rewarded because the Bears were obligated after they made the trade. And he's not earning that money. Look, I want him to prosper. People are going to say, you're always picking on the Bears' best pass rusher. Yes, I am. When they're paid huge money and they're not getting pressures consistently. I mean, there are 75, 85 guys in the league who have hit the quarterback more than Montez Sweat. That number will go up today because he didn't hit him again today. He had one assist. He had one assist last week. He didn't suit up the week before that. I pick on Bears pass rushers only when they don't rush the passer. And I'm so sick of the narrative about double teams. Green Bay did it today a little bit on Sweat, but in the past, we have heard excuses made time and time again. You pick a great Bears pass rusher. Khalil Mack, Julius Peppers, and those were great players at some points in their career. But and Peppers was much more versatile than Mack too. Peppers was fabulous in coverage, and was much more effective, I thought, than any pass rusher the Bears have ever had in terms of his ability to get up and block passes. I'll never forget. I'm getting lost in a memory here that I did with you during Hall of Fame week when Peppers was enshrined. Don't do the Carolina game with Jimmy Clausen and the Battio and the diving. Picaggio. There you go, Vandy. One for you on a post-game Sunday. But I've lost my train of thought. Julius Peppers was a terrific player, but he also was not double-teamed every snap. That is a false narrative. And it certainly hasn't been the case this year with Sweat. You might recall when he felt he was disrespected. Single blocked by a tight end. Packers did it on occasion again today. So you got to get after. You got to earn that money. You don't get a pass, and you're not going to get there all day. I don't expect a guy to have 3 sacks a week. I'm not an idiot, Matt Nagy. But I expect him to make splash plays. Sometimes TJ Watt's numbers are not good. Sometimes Myles Garrett, I don't think scratched today. Maybe he didn't play. I know he didn't have stats. They didn't watch Cleveland. I'm getting lost in this thing. I do that now and again because this Bears-Packers series makes everybody so crazy. I said I was going to go over the numbers. Let me make good on that. Right after I tell you about the numbers, you can get at Bet Rivers in the same game parlay. Pick 2 or more from within the same game and increase your odds the more you play. The more things you pick, the better your odds are, and the more you're going to get paid off. 2 from the same game, and you hit them, they earn a square, and those squares can get you bonus bets, profit boosts, and up to $10,000 jackpots. Play the same game parlay from Bet Rivers. I did that today. For those of you who might have seen my pick Sunday morning when it crossed on X at Danny Mac Show, or if you follow Bet Rivers Sportsbook, you might have seen that I had DeAndre Swift to score an anytime touchdown and the over on rushing yards for the former Raider Josh Jacobs, who just got there today. That paid $380. So do the same game parlay from Bet Rivers. Quickly, let's go over some numbers head-to-head. This is the Bears-Packers series. Matt LaFleur is 11-0. Matt Eberflus is 0-5. Jordan Love is 3-0. Justin Fields was 0-6. Caleb, of course, now is 0-1. Prior to that, Mitch Trubisky was 1-6. Aaron Rodgers was 24-5. Prior to Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre was 22-10. Jay Cutler was 2-10 against Green Bay. Lovie Smith was 7-11. Lovey won a bunch of games, right? I think Lovey was 8-11. He had the odd number of games because they had the NFC Championship game, 8-11 overall. But he won, I think, he won 7 of his first 10, and then hit the skids and only won one more the rest of the way after pandering to Meatball Nation. Wani 1-11 versus Green Bay, if I failed to note that. After Lovey, Mark Trestman went 1-3 in his 2 years. John Fox went 1-5 in his 3 years, all losing seasons. Who am I missing? Who have I? Oh, Nagy. Nagy was 1-5 as well. One win, except for Eberflus. He's got one more chance. One more chance to beat the Packers, or he will finish 0-6 against them before he gets canned. And that likely is coming because this has just been untenable. And the Bears offense did everything it could today except score enough points. They just didn't muscle out enough points, man. With the way it's gone, defense has got to do better than giving up 20. You can't give up 20 points. That's how pathetic it is for this offense. As well as they played, I mean, you have to think, by their standards, this is a pretty good effort by the Bears, right? And they scored 19 frickin' points. Man. God. And they won the turnover battle. And they won time of possession. And they were terrific on 3rd and 4th down. Keenan Allen has a drop shortly after Odunze just can't quite get to a 9 route. Just a little bit deep for him. But it was a well-thrown ball. Williams put it where only one guy could get it, his guy. Odunze had a drop today, too. I hope his dad noted that he was targeted 10 or 11 times, even though that story may not have had as much teeth as headline writers wanted you to believe it did back in October when there was word that Odunze's dad was going Odell Beckham Sr., and firing on the quarterback for not getting him the ball when he was open. And I guess the misunderstanding was James Odunze was trying to criticize the broadcast coverage of separation with the receiver and the defender, not necessarily Williams not getting the ball to him. Man, in this series, I have seen so much peril. And the times I have made that trip to Green Bay for this game, I have witnessed some of the most bizarre and unfortunate Bears results. It's like I should just go away when the Bears and Packers play for fear if my eyes are on them, whether in person at Lambeau, at Soldier Field, or in the damn front of the TV. Bad things happened beginning in 89 when Don Mikowski beat him 14-13 in the famous replay game at Lambeau. Was he over the line? Bears insist he was. I don't think he was. Replay show wasn't conclusive. It wasn't conclusive. And you know what? The call on the field went the other way. Didn't go the Bears' way, and it didn't go the Bears' way when Cutler cut the ribbon on his Bears career in 09. I was at Lambeau for that disaster on Sunday Night Football. Opening night of 09. Cutler threw 4 picks, one of them to Johnny Jolly, fat number 97. Hit him right between the 9 and the 7. Ha-ha! Go get him, Jolly. Brian Urlacher broke his wrist in that game and was lost for the year. Bears and Packers. The hammer and the nail. You know, the nail may not like the hammer, but it doesn't have a rivalry with it. From the hammer, there is no thought nor effort required. The Bears have been the nail. The Packers have been the hammer. Thank you very much for listening to this post-game edition. I've got plenty coming up on the Bears as we continue to navigate our way through this third and likely final season for Matt Eberflus. Adam Delavitt is my buddy, Baby Capone. Want to wish Adam his family nothing but the best this upcoming holiday season. He's my little Holidell. And Sam Michael, my executive producer. Randy Merkin takes care of all the guests, and he'll be hitting the ball deep and into the seats again this coming week on the Danny Mac podcast, assisted by Troy Mocker and Alex Pastor. Thank you very much for listening. Those of you YouTubing, thank you for watching. I'll iron my flannel next time around. I'm Dan McNeil.